Oh, oh boy, it's a little hot. Oh, I'm just loving this. English videos make me so happy. Hey guys, welcome back to my English channel. Today we're eating 猪肚、东北拉皮儿, toast, corn, and rice. I know. A lot of people are watching now, so I'm not supposed to make English videos because only a very small number of you guys watch this type of video. But after some soul searching, I realized no matter how many people follow me, I should still do what I want to do, and what I truly want is to make some English videos. So here we are. Without further ado, let's get started. Let's try this one first. Open up. To be fair, this one is definitely better than the rice noodle, the glass noodles. Yeah, glass noodle. It's softer but easy on the teeth, so I like this better. You can't really fry or boil this, right? I think that's the only shortcomings compared to the glass noodles. Because with glass noodles, we can fry, we can make them into stew, we can boil them. So you can make them into different types of dish. But with 东北拉皮儿, we can only make them into salad.猪肚 is very good. It's chewy. It's kind of like a rubbery. It has a rubbery taste. I think most people like chewy stuff, like 辣条, rice cakes, and this one. If it's the first time that you watch my English video, then you should know that I don't translate many of the Chinese food. I don't know how. It's okay. I don't think you would mind. Coca-Cola from last video. Oh, let's put it here. Out of the sight. I'll try to speak more gently so that you can relax and when I film the Chinese eating show, sometimes if I get too high, I would raise the pitch all of a sudden. So some subscribers told me that they were spooked by the occasional sharp sound. So here I'll pay more attention. You should try this at home with green pepper. You know, the spicy kind. I don't know the difference between this green pepper and the jalapeno, but it's very spicy, and it goes perfectly with the pork stomach. Sorry. So good. My roommate is shaving. I can hear him. He'll go to his parents for lunch. Today is tomb sweeping day, right? The national holiday. So all of you are probably free right now, right? You don't have to go to school or go to work. Last night I video chat with my mom, asking her how she was gonna do this whole thing, because back in my hometown there's a tradition basically on the tomb sweeping day, you pay tribute to all the dead ancestors, you know, the relatives who passed away. Usually it's a job for the men, you know, the men in the family. I know it's a little discriminatory, but in many places, especially the backward ones, my hometown, so I think it's a little backward. So in those impoverished places, those traditions are valued or viewed very highly. So if they say women are not allowed to do this job, then they're not allowed to do this. In recent years, it has become better. The rules become pretty loose. It can be bent. It can be bent. I'm not so sure, but like this year, my father is not at home today. Neither is my brother. So none of us is at home. I mean, as a result, my mom has to do this. But the cemetery is a little far. It's a little far from my home. It's probably like 20 minutes drive. My mom doesn't drive. She doesn't even ride the moped, you know, the electronic motorbike something. She ride bicycles. So it might take over half an hour for her to get there. I'm a little concerned because there must be a lot of cars today on the street. I do wish I could be at home helping her with this, but you know what it is, right? I just came back to Beijing, and I'll probably go home in June for my mother's birthday. So I don't think I should be going home now because it's a holiday season and the plane tickets are very expensive. It may not be fair to you guys, but I consider the English channel a place for me to sit down quietly with no sense of obligation at heart. So I don't have to eat very fast. I don't have to speak in an interesting way or anything. I just feel like I don't have any mental burden. I don't have to feel any sense of duty here or responsibility. So I'll probably be eating or talking more casually. So pardon me if I am a little slow. Or if I don't interact with you guys more often. This is more like a safe haven for me, my own place. I'm hoping it could be yours as well, because some of you guys do enjoy this type of video, right? You need to relax, and I hope I could create such an environment for all of us to relax here. No expectations, no disappointments. I feel like I need this video because you guys all see that the channel is growing lately, a little faster than I expected. So I couldn't help getting a little posy. It's kind of like you are suddenly aware that a lot of people are watching, so you get a little posy. Say I'm eating. Normally, this is the pace with which I eat. But lately, when I'm filming the Chinese mukbangs, once I slow down, this idea suddenly came to my mind, telling me to speed up or to be a little faster. It's just one of those ideas that creeps into your mind. A lot of you guys are very sweet. You send me messages, you DMs me, and encourage me to be more myself. But sometimes just can't help it. So I'm trying. I realize it is one of the problems I will have to face in the future. But I'll try to be myself. So don't worry. Don't worry. Ooh. Oh boy, it's a little hot. Ever since the year before, not last year, the year before, I started drinking beverages in summer. For over 30 years, I stayed away from all the beverages. No Coca-Cola for the first 30 years of my life. But once the gate was open, you can't close it. So hot, but goes perfectly with rice. Let's try this one. When I was preparing the meal, I was like, I suddenly had this craving for sweets, but I don't have anything in my fridge, so this is all I have. Bread. I don't even have time to toast them, so it's just bread and corn. Oh my god, that was close. So this is my sweet. It's really, I tried it before from the bakery. All bakeries seem to have this, right? Use a wrong lid. Oh no! But mine is healthier. Corn is very tasty. It's like yams. They are just one of those things, one of those food you don't eat very often, but occasionally you do. When you do, you just want to eat them every day, every meal. How to say 炼乳 in English? Never mind. Sweet. The bread is whole wheat corn bread, so tastes like corn. Oh, I'm just loving this. English videos make me so happy. I don't think it's the English that makes me happy. It's this sense of composure and quietness. Let's continue with the story. After the call with my mom, you can imagine that I was a little frustrated. I always felt a little frustrated when I realized my mom is alone at home. So I felt a little guilty, and this guilt can easily lead to depression because the chain of thoughts is almost certain. It goes like this: my mom is at home. Why can't I go home? Why? Because I don't have enough money yet. I have to stay here and earn money and work. Then I start to get a little depressed over the work I have to do. then I start to resent the fact that I don't have enough money. It's just how things go every time. So I was a little down. I don't know about you guys, but spring always makes me a little, not depressed, but sometimes spring makes me blue. I know it's a very old expression, but spring, it's very cheesy, but spring makes me blue. Not green, but blue. I'm always a little blue in spring. It's even worse for April. Do you know why? Because April is my birthday. My birthday is coming up next week. When you're in your 20s, birthday is something fun, right? When you're in your 30s, birthday could still be fun. I mean, for me, birthday is always fun. But when the birthday goes shoulder to shoulder with having to move, then it's a different story. It's a different picture. Because every time I have to move, I would have to check different apartments. I have to weigh my options, think about the budgets. Honestly, it's very depressing. It reminds you that you can't afford a nice apartment. You can't buy an apartment. So April is kind of like my kryptonite. The kryptonite to my superhero at heart. Yes, I am a Superman. I'm a Superman. Normally, I'm very strong mentally. I don't get depressed easily. But in April, all the things would come together. Turning 35, yet not having my own home, having to move, having to work. And after making that phone call with my mom, I was seriously on a slope down to depression. I was slipping fast. Moments like this are fleeting. They're very short. But you have to overcome it. When it's over, you get over that, you're fine. It's just one of those low points in your life you have to overcome. For some people, it's very long. These moments can be infinitely expanded. That's why they get depression. They can't get out of it. I can totally relate to them. But for most of us, it's pretty short. Am I talking loudly? Hope I'm not talking too loud. Okay. So I was falling. My roommate was at home. That's what I do. If I have something I have to get out of my chest, sometimes I would write. I would write in my journal. Sometimes I would just take a walk in his room. So I went over to his room where he was watching films. And I started talking to myself in his room, right next to him. I know he wouldn't be listening. You know, if I were watching a film and he came over to my room, I would just, bye-bye, good night. He usually does the same thing to me. So I went over to his room. He was clearly in no mood to talk to me. So I just sat next to him and I started talking to myself. I was pretty down, so I started like questioning myself. I literally asked myself questions. I was like, this is the last time I'll ever move. I'll never ever move again in my life. You know, when I was saying this, you know the kind of image that came to my mind? It was, I don't know if you have read this book. It's Gone with the Wind, classic. Very good. I read that in high school. But not a good reading material if you want to practice English, right? Gone with the Wind is not a good reading material for English studies. But if your English is fine, you do not intend to learn English through reading this book, then it's a great book. It's a classic. I'll tell you why in my future videos when I talk about what kind of books you should read to learn English. But that was a classic. I loved it. In this book, there was a scene. The leading girl in this book is called Scarlett. So Scarlett was born rich, a rich family, but then she was one of the victims in the Civil War in America. That's a background. So overnight, he lost everything. Sorry, why do I have to say? She lost everything. There was this scene when she returned to her home after the first war. The first fight broke out, the big fight that destroyed everything in her hometown. She went home. She used to be this pretty girl, rich family. They're not pampered, but she lived a carefree life. But when she came back, all of a sudden, she lost everything. And her servants, many servants still followed her. She had to take care of a large family. She doesn't have any money. So the lowest point of her life came when she went to the field, trying to dig up some leftover potatoes or something. Basically, she had to find scraps of food in the field with her hands. She didn't have anything. Everybody was starving. So that was the lowest point of her life. In that moment, Scarlett was so outraged that I'm not sure if she said this to the sky or something. She was like, I'll never ever ever be poor again. I'll never have to worry about food in my life again. You know, sometimes you're despaired, you're desperate. you're angry. You make these wishes or pledges, right? So I remember that scene, that part vividly. Of course, that's the story of the book, which I'm not going to discuss at length, but that was a moment when I understood why Scarlett became the kind of person she was afterwards. Some people don't like her because since then she only married rich people. She was vain. She cared about the money more than anything else, even to the guy who loved her dearly. She only cared about money. But when a person has gone through a disaster like this, it's understandable. She has to feel safe. She can only feel safe when there is material guarantee, right? When there is money. I don't study psychology, but we all know a little bit about psychology, right? From the films, books are here and there. In psychology, there seems to be this theory that whatever you don't have in your childhood, whatever trauma you sustained when you were small, tend to decide what kind of person you are for the rest of your life. I think that's what shaped Scarlett. Why am I talking about this character? Okay, let's go back to me. It's me. It's me time. Oh, half an hour, 30 minutes. Good. So at that moment, I was very dramatic. I felt like I was Scarlett, but a lot less determined. Scarlett was strong. That was a moment she became very strong. She started, becoming a woman, taking control of her life. I was more disappointed and desperate than strong. So I was like, I never want to move again. I never want to have to worry about money again. This is my last move ever. After hearing this, my roommate turned to me and said, "If this is the last time you move, what happens next year?" I know he meant well. He started preaching to me again. He was like, if you don't want to move, buy a house, buy an apartment. You have to make preparations. You are turning 35. You should take control of your life. You should be more responsible. You should think in the long run. I can't blame him because I started saving money. I started my plan the year before, the moment I started making this video, roughly. So I'm already on my way. Maybe this will take a little bit longer than I expected, but I'm heading towards that direction. But for other people, based on the way I live my life, because I'm not busy, let's be honest, I don't give classes very often. Most of the time I stay at home. I can understand why he thinks I don't know what to do with my life. In his eyes, I must be this guy who doesn't care that much about work, who takes long breaks. So when I said those words, he became a little worked up. He was a little angry for me. He was anxious for me. So he blurted out all the things. Then he said, you shouldn't give out this negative vibe. You shouldn't let yourself filled with such negative energy. It doesn't suit you. You are a positive person. You shouldn't be so negative. Why all the negativity? I don't think I'm a negative person, a passive person. So when he accused me of sending negative energy to the universe, to him, I was a little angry. I just wanted to get it out of my system. But last night, I was in no mood to have a fight or argument with him, so I just let things pass. I was totally focused on myself, my own energy, ideas. I just want to lift myself out of that emotional pit, so I forgive him. I bought a little more this time. Clearly, I overestimated myself. This one came with a takeout. My roommate ordered last night. Normally I wouldn't drink this, but today I'm just in the mood for beverage. Lately I'm craving sweet crazy. Yeah, I eat all kinds of sweet. Chocolate, candies, ice cream, cola and juice. Let's try the orange. I'm I'm sorry if this video is full of negative energy. I don't think it's that negative, right? I'm just telling a story. I don't care that much about the subscribers, the number of subscribers. I'm not even excited about the growing number. When the number hit 10,000, I thought I would be happy, but I wasn't. I wasn't happy, but nor was I unhappy. I just don't care about the number. I was really happy for that 8888 thing, but that moment has passed. I don't like it when my channel is too messy. Last video was messy. This morning when I went to the park, I saw this large parade of all kinds of traditional food brand from Beijing. You know, the time-honored brands like Daoxiangcun, Nanlaishun. What kind of accent is that? Daoxiangcun, Nanlaishun. 什么斋? It must be very crowded here in the park now. It's holiday and they have this market thing, you know, like the temple fair. If you are here in Beijing, you must notice the sudden spike in the temperature. You know, the temperature just rises overnight. That's what happens in Beijing. There is just no spring. I mean, the day before, I was wearing the heavy coats, very heavy coats to work because it was still very cold. I wore the heavy coats, but yesterday, when I returned from work, it was so hot. The temperature was like 28 degrees. So literally overnight, it went from winter to summer. No spring. I suddenly have an idea for my next English video. I'm not gonna tell you what it is. It's a secret. That's it for today. I hope you have a great time, and I'll see you next time. Live long and prosper. Bye.